What is up, fishing family? It's your boy Luis, or Dat Boy Seguin on the gram. Today we are going to be talking about the Swayward 16 from Whiplash. This little bait, I've been chucking this around for about a year now. We finally got him in, and we got him in some fresh watercolors that came out really sick. And it's just been something I've caught a ton of fish on, caught them pretty much everywhere I've gone. Just like sneaky little glide that just gets chewed. So without further ado, let's get into it.
That's a nice one. Look at that. Like 3 pounds, dude. He came up and he was like just behind it. I was just going a little too fast. Are you? Look at that guy, guys. Oh, shit, son. A glide. Dude,
The Swayward 16. Been fishing with this bait for about a year now, and we finally got him into the shop, right? It's 16 centimeters and about 1.5 ounces. One of the best things I think about this bait is, like, I don't consider myself the greatest glide bait fisherman, and I feel like I'm pretty proficient with this bait, right? This bait makes me feel like a great glide bait fisherman. So that's a really good point to this bait. And also, you don't really need like specific gear for this. You know, you could pretty much chuck this around on any like medium heavy rod. So that's kind of what really got my interest in this, right? And I've taken this bait out like all over the place, pretty much gotten chewed no matter where, right? It's just like that perfect size, right? Not too big, not too small. And then like if you're getting into this, you know, like I said, you don't really need any special gear for it. It's, you know, pretty friendly to someone that's just getting into it. All right, so right out of the box, this bait, you can walk it pretty slow and it's more or less silent, right? Someone that's not really into glides or someone that's just learning, it's definitely one you could still throw out there and straight retrieve, right? It kind of comes in and it'll just do like a big swaving motion. But how I've caught most of my fish, and the funnest way to fish this bait has just been to chop it real hard, and it's got a real nice rattle in there, right? Or knock, right? A little bit of both actually. And that bait just whack, 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 whack. And I just had a lot of, just produced a lot of fish doing that for me, right? Especially like in these colder months, these fish are kind of lethargic, and you know, you kind of go either way, right? You go silent, or you could go a little louder and kind of fire them up. And this bait kind of does both, right? So a lot of times I've kind of like been throwing it around a spot, not had any action or like any attention drawn to it, and then I gone back in and just whack, 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 cracked it through. This is some of the same stuff, and I've actually caught one of the biggest fish on this bait doing that at one of the canals locally. So that's my biggest like urban fish has come on this bait, so that's pretty cool. What they sent us, and I've been fishing mostly, is this chrome and chartreuse one, and all they had were saltwater colors, right? This was a saltwater bait originally, and fishing this bait and seeing like my success with it is kind of what I've mentioned before. Like color doesn't really matter so much. It's more or less they need to see it. But we did work with Whiplash, right? To come up with some of these colors, which I think why they came out so dope. That white one I showed we came up with, and then I think these two we had a hand into, right? This banded minnow, that's a popular one, and the other Whiplash bait. And then this is another gill color. And I've kind of learned to like these colors with the chrome mixed in. That's one thing that's really impressed me with the colors from the Swaywards, is they keep the back a little lighter than the rest of the body. I mean, it still has like a dark line, right? So it's definite, but as the light's kind of getting let into this bait, the pattern and like the scaling pops a lot more. So on these brighter days when you're working these baits, it has a very unique look to it. I think it looks real lifelike in the water, you know, you got that scaling and stuff. And just a little bit more pop, right, than some of these other baits. Like the body just looks a little more interesting. So when we got these in, they changed the hardware on them, right? I'm not sure why. I mean, these hooks look pretty solid. They're still real pointy. They seem pretty good. But I just had a lot of confidence fishing these little bit longer shank ones. So I went ahead and swapped them out to the Spears 21s. And those are the same shape as the ones that came with it. They're just, like I said, a little bit longer, a little bit wider gap, and I just never lost a fish on them. They don't have any swiveling parts to help you, so I definitely recommend, you know, upgrading those hooks to something that you feel a lot better with. And right out of the box, like I said, you can fish this bait in those couple different ways. Without any weight on this bait, you could definitely fish it on the surface, which they do have another model made to do that, but I found that you can, with, like I said, as long as you're not adding anything to it, this thing will pretty much wake. You just kind of have your rod tip up and you can just like walk it on the surface, right? So kind of a cool like S-ing motion on the top water, you know, if you want to do that. But most of these I just have a gram, I think, in front and back, and I just kind of, you know, hold it up to the light and you can see where the beads, the weight, the fixed weighting they have on this bait, right? And then I'll just get my strips as close as I can to that, and that usually, you know, makes the bait come straight down, or, you know, it sinks properly. And then when you're working it, or, you know, chopping it real hard, the bait usually will stay true, right? If you move those weights up forward or back at all, you can kind of have the bait kind of like blow out or just, you know, not swim correctly. Well, like I said, I put about a gram in front and behind of that front hook, and that kind of gets it to just perfectly, you know, a little slow sink, right? And one thing that's really impressed me with this bait is fishing it in the current, right? So a lot of times you'll throw, like, I mean, not even just a glide, right? But you'll just be throwing any kind of a bait in the current, and, you know, even the smallest current will affect how something walks, or even more so in, like, you know, working against the current, of course. Well, this bait, I've caught a lot of fish in current with it, and that's, like I said, has been really impressive to me, is its ability to walk through the current, you know, pretty much unbothered by, you know, the water. The only thing I do is I'll put, like I said, I got them pretty much rigged for a slow sink, and I'll just drop a little grenade weight of some sort on there just to give it that, you know, little bit, pick up that speed, right? So if I'm fishing in the current, or if I just want to fish it in some deeper water, right, I can get it down there and fish it where I want it to be. And at, like, I think this is like $43.99, something like that. So it's one that, like, I'm not too afraid to lose, right? It's a little cheaper, and it's just overall real user friendly, right? I've banged the one up that I've been fishing all year. It still swims true, beating the crap out of this thing, you know, fishing around rocks and structure and, you know, a lot of these urban spots. So the durability of this bait has also been really impressive to me. Just working this bait, right, like as a beginner, I was really impressed just learning this bait, right? I was able to, you know, kind of get it to walk one way or the other way too. So that's another, like, key point, I think, is just somebody that's wanting to learn more or wanting to get one that's not so intimidating or expensive or whatever, right? Overall, just a real user-friendly glide. Alrighty, and for my setup, you could have guessed it maybe. We are rocking the Diffuser. Talked about this rod plenty of times. We love this thing here. I just have a 7-speed Steez on that, and like I said, with this rod, you know, just any of that, like, ounce and a half, it's just really a solid choice for a lot of these moving baits, or like baits that you need to work, right? You got the good tip on the rod, and then you still got the power in the back for when you're casting this thing and all that. And then the length, sick on the kayak, you know, making all these short little accurate casts and little backhanded, you know, all that stuff that you need. Yeah, you know, like I say, I always have nothing but good things to say about the Diffuser. And typically I'm running this thing on like 16 to 18 pound. It's, like I said, it's pretty forgiving for, you know, beginners, and like the line, even the line weight doesn't really affect too much on how this bait swims, so that's another bonus. Alrighty, so that wraps it up for this video. And like I said, I just been fishing this thing all over the place, and it's been getting chewed everywhere I go. So I know you guys are gonna take it out and have lots of success with it, and I hope it kind of gets some people that are a little apprehensive to try like a little bit bigger bait, or just a new style bait for you, right? I've had so much success with this thing. I pretty much don't leave the house without it now, and yeah, just nothing but good things to say about this guy. And Jeff's gonna leave links and everything on the bottom there for you guys, and if you have any questions with it, you know, you can hit me up on the gram. I'd be more than happy to answer with any of those, because I do have a little experience on this now. So yeah, that's about it, and I hope you guys have a good one.